Spotlight is proudly sponsored by HEC Media, St. Louis's home for arts, education, and culture.
Today on Spotlight, German language instruction in public schools grew in the 19th century. Why this fell out of favor. And then the STL Science Center's hands-on exhibit about engineering and architecture, what visitors get to build. Plus, Devon Allman, son of Greg Allman, is now a headliner who tours around the world. But first, a school celebrating 20 years of serving as a beacon of hope for neighborhood kids. It's Sunday, and you're watching the multiple Emmy Award-winning Spotlight.
The story is in the names. It's in the flags. It's in the faces.
There's so many people represented. It really is a very happy place because everybody is equally welcome here. And I think that's really a gift that we offer those families.
By design and by destiny, St. Francis Cabrini Academy in South St. Louis has become the place where hundreds of children from dozens of cultures gather to learn and be loved in a faith-based community that feels like a family.
Yes! There's so much depth to those words. Those are not just hashtags or slogans, because that's what happens for the child.
I feel like they want us here and they care about my kid.
It's amazing because I get to see the different perspectives of people and how they see the world.
We talk about our Catholic identity as a school. Kindness, forbearance, cooperation. Every faith teaches these things. That's in everything we do.
If I do one thing, I want to instill the love of learning in my students. This is a school where kids come and they don't want to leave.
Our call was, how do we respond to the needs of the people who are right here around the corner?
That corner was the intersection of Oregon Avenue and Arsenal Street, the site of a Catholic school called Notre Dame Elementary. But in the early 2000s, the neighborhood around it and the parishes near it were looking for ways to respond to a growing population of immigrants and refugees. People with often limited means, but big dreams, especially for their children. So in 2003, the St. Louis Archdiocese transformed Notre Dame Elementary into St. Francis Cabrini Academy, named for the patron saint of immigrants and designed to meet their particular educational needs.
I was told on the first day of school that half of the kindergarten children didn't speak English. By the time those students get to 8th grade, they'll be proficient. They'll go to any high school of their choice in St. Louis.
Beyond teaching the basics, what sets St. Francis Cabrini Academy apart are the lessons students absorb simply by being immersed in a diverse collection of cultures.
When you're learning at a young age that there are different people that do things differently and that look very different, it's not threatening. You know, you're meeting on equal ground in the classroom.
So it just makes everybody feel welcome.
A big part of making Cabrini welcoming to all is making it affordable to all. The cost of educating a student at Cabrini is approximately $10,000 a year, but no family pays more than the base tuition of about $4,700 a year per student, with many paying far less.
Our greatest need is typically tuition assistance because we want our students to stay here. We don't want them to come for a few years and then say, okay, you know what, I can't afford this. So that's really important to us.
With supplemental funding from the Archdiocese and the generosity of individual donors, 95% of Cabrini students are able to receive some tuition assistance.
In the spirit of Mother Cabrini, we're very much about the holistic care so that we're doing more than the education.
Cabrini Academy has become a vital community hub, providing assistance to its families with the basics of everyday life, including housing and health care, translators and tutors, and food. Some Cabrini students eat 3 meals a day here, with a menu as diverse as the students themselves.
Orange chicken, chicken fajitas, hot dogs, and nachos.
In partnership with its supporting pastors and parishes, St. Francis Cabrini Academy also nourishes the soul.
The best thing is that when you start from when they are small, bring them up in a Christian way is a very nice thing. And that's why I like this school.
I like learning about my religion. It helps me dig deeper down into, me as a person.
These are the moments. Every day is something new.
There's no denying that today's children are being born into a difficult world during trying times. But truly understanding that world will empower them to change it.
We seek God's blessing always.
And it all begins by providing these young people with an education that is world class.
I think a big part of education is more than just what you learn in a book. It's also how you learn how to be with each other.
I think Cabrini is a place that helps develop community across those lines, but also helps students to develop a sense of what empathy looks like.
When you celebrate diversity, when you make it a positive thing, people want to be a part of it.
We're all from different cultures. We're all unique. We're all beautiful. We're all God's children. And we're all smart.
For more St. Louis stories, subscribe to the HEC YouTube channel. Connect STL from HEC Media.
HEC Media. Recognized, celebrated, honored time and again for excellence in the industry. Find all of the award-winning content at hecmedia.org.
History Spotlight, brought to you by HEC Media and the Missouri Historical Society.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jody Sowell, president of the Missouri Historical Society in St. Louis, and this is History Spotlight. In the 19th century, as German immigrants settled in St. Louis, the demand for German language instruction in public schools grew. Initially offered voluntarily in 5 elementary schools, the program quickly gained popularity, attracting both German and non-German students, and expanding to more schools over the years. Librarian Emily Jaycox tells the story and explains why it fell out of favor.
Although St. Louis had been founded by French fur traders in 1764, and St. Louis became part of the United States in 1804, it was not until 1838 that the St. Louis public schools held their first classes. Significant numbers of Germans started moving to St. Louis in the 1830s and 1840s. By 1860, St. Louis was a majority immigrant city, with the 2 most numerous groups being Germans and Irish. In 1843, German families petitioned the St. Louis public schools to add instruction in German. They had been sending their children to private schools because they wanted them to still know German. But the school board postponed action on their request, stating that they wanted to make sure German instruction did not interfere with regular studies. You could take German as a foreign language at the high school, along with Latin, French, or Greek. In 1864, voluntary German instruction was offered in the 5 elementary schools that had the highest German enrollments: Lafayette School in Soulard, Carr School near Carr Square, west and north of today's Convention Center, Charles School off of Gravois, Clay across the street from Hyde Park in North St. Louis, and Shepherd, a few blocks from the Lemp Brewery. Participation was voluntary, offered to grades 3 through 8. 540 students took part the first year. Participating students had 20 to 30 minutes of German instruction per day. The visiting German teacher would conduct whatever subject they were studying in German when visiting their class. The main reason given by the school board was to keep children of German parents from withdrawing from public school. By 1866, the program was extended to first and second graders and offered in any school where 100 or more students signed up. Enrollment in the program had more than tripled. Native speakers of English could also participate. The program was so popular with them that for the 10 years between 1872 and 1881, between 1/3 and 1/2 of the participants were not native speakers of German. Benefits were noted in the local school board reports, including the fact that groundbreaking scientific research was being published in German, and these students would be able to read it. The students in the program were seen as more disciplined, and the school board said, quote, "It was a great means for production of a homogeneous population." In 1876, the city limits were expanded and 10 more schools offered German English instruction. But by 1879, the school board cited concerns about the expense of the program. They looked at the way this was handled in Cincinnati and proposed having the regular teachers who knew German offer the instruction rather than using special German teachers who would visit classrooms. They proposed to handle this staffing shift through attrition. Between 1879 and 1881, the number of special German teachers dropped by 1/3. In 1883, a faction in the school board introduced a motion to allow nothing but English to be taught in the St. Louis public schools, arguing that the German script impairs the sight of pupils and teaching two forms of penmanship is a waste of time. But that motion was tabled and then indefinitely postponed. Meanwhile, in 1887, there was a change in the way the school board was elected. The new board discussed a retrenchment plan to cut costs. As of the end of the fall semester 1888, there was no more German English instruction in grade school. German, as well as other languages, continued to be offered at the high school level, but in those days, only a small percentage of students went on to high school. The special German teachers were permitted to use the classrooms after hours to finish out the school year.
Next week on History Spotlight, the day Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech to over 2,000 people in this very room.
To learn more about the Missouri Historical Society, visit mohistory.org.
With every stroke of the bow, every stroke of the brush, with every stroke of genius, the arts make life in St. Louis richer, not just emotionally, but also economically. In our region, the arts create $869 million a year in economic activity, supporting 12,000 jobs, generating $155 million for state and local governments, with more than 8 million annual arts-related visits. That's more than all St. Louis sporting events combined. Whether in a park, on a street, or a wall, experimental or a classic, the arts deserve our support, because the arts help support us. HEC Media is proud to be our region's home for arts, education, and culture. Because in St. Louis, the arts mean business.
Later on Spotlight, music from Devon Allman, son of the great Greg Allman.
We're standing here in our newest exhibit in the Current Curiosities Gallery, Dream It, Build It, an exhibit that's hands-on, all about construction, architecture, and engineering. This is an exhibit that's really focused on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and it's hands-on, giving you the opportunity to build with blocks. Kiva planks is what they're called, and these allow you to do some architecture and construction on your own. You'll get to see the ways that you can develop different styles, and the whole time, you're going to be fighting physics as you're building these gravity-defying structures. Dream It, Build It is really a free-form exhibit in that we're not going to tell you how to build these items, these objects, these buildings that you're trying to create. And instead, it's up to you and your imagination. The blocks may be uniform shape, but you can literally build anything out of them here in this gallery. It's not just about the blocks, though. There are going to be panels throughout the exhibit that are going to be talking a little bit about architecture and engineering here in our city of St. Louis. There are a lot of great examples of architecture, and we hope that, one, they'll give you some prompts and ideas of things to try to build here in the gallery, but also a reminder of all the cool icons that we have in our city that add to our skyline. There are a lot of architectural influences here in St. Louis, and you'll get to kind of explore some of those, from the Native Americans who inhabited the area to the first settlers. We have a lot of French influences. Of course, we have our St. Louis Arch, but also our own planetarium here at the Science Center. All these icons are here to inspire you to build your own masterpieces, stir up your own creativity. Who knows, you might be the next great architect building something that's going to adorn the St. Louis skyline. And that's really core to our mission here at the St. Louis Science Center, to inspire lifelong STEM learning, lifelong technology learning. We can do it hands-on here in this exhibit and throughout the rest of our galleries here at the Science Center. Dream It, Build It is included with your free admission here to the St. Louis Science Center, and you're welcome to spend from minutes to hours here depending on how much you're enjoying it. You can find out more at slsc.org.
For original programming and award-winning content, explore hecmedia.org. Find all of your favorite genres, including the arts and sciences. Go in-depth with the latest research. Get insight into new technologies. Learn about breakthrough discoveries. Find it all in one place. Explore hecmedia.org.
The success of Devon Allman is rocketing. He's officially a headliner on main stages across the country. One of those legendary venues he often plays brings back special memories with his dad, singer-songwriter Greg Allman.
The Ryman is the mother church in Nashville. It's one of the, the most esteemed venues in the country. And the first time I ever played there was with my dad. And he said, hey man, at the end of the show, we're gonna bring up a friend of mine and you guys can have like a little guitar duel. And I was like, great, like who's coming by? And he goes, oh, it's Keith Urban. I was like, great. This guy he'll just, he's such a slayer. What a great guitar player. And we had a lot of fun.
The Allman Betts Band is also selling out venues around the world.
What's exciting, it's been a crazy few years with the Allman Betts Band, and the Allman Betts Family Revival has been growing. And then I've got my first solo record coming out this July. It's the first one in 8 years. The solo band is ramping up for that. We're doing 3 different tours of Europe. Allman Betts Band is going to Japan for the first time, which is exciting. I've always wanted to go, and we got selected to play at Fuji Rock this year, which is really cool. I've always wanted to play Fuji Rock, so it's a big bucket list check. Right after doing Jazz Fest, which was another big bucket list, it was really an honor to play Jazz Fest and pay tribute to Dickie Betts.
Devon Allman is now a headliner.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think about it, but some festivals were headlining, and I remember starting and begging my way onto certain festivals. Let me play at noon for $300, and that was really what happened.
So much has changed for Devon Allman.
Life is pretty sweet now. I work when I want to work, and I don't have anyone in the industry that tells me what to do, and that's such a blessing. I don't have pressure to go on tour. I don't have pressure to make a record. I can go on tour when I want to go on tour. I can choose the dates I want to take. I can make the records I want to make. It's such a blessing to have full creative control and full control of my business and my flow.
Devon celebrated his 50th birthday with the world record See It All tour.
See It All with Donovan Frankenreiter. That was the quickest blur of a tour ever. We played all 50 states in 49 days, consecutively, nonstop. And that song was kind of written preemptively, knowing that we would go see it all. So it was really tongue-in-cheek. It was a lot of fun. The video was shot at the factory, actually, on one day where they didn't have a concert there, and we built a video wall and shot a bunch of kind of travel-themed visuals behind us, and it was a lot of fun.
Showing a softer side, one release that surprised his fans and welcomed many new fans is the Maggie Rose and Devon Allman duet of the timeless Jackson Browne song, These Days.
I had invited Maggie Rose to be part of the revival tour a couple years ago. And she called me and she said, man, we should do that Jackson Browne song that your dad did, These Days. And I was like, wow, that would be really cool. It's one of my favorite songs.
These days I sit on the cornerstone, count the time in quarter tones to 10. My friend, and now I believe I come to see myself again.
Devon recently finished recording his new album.
So you're feeling down and out.
It's a really fun record. It's a different record for me. It's kind of a R&B funk record. I think it's the first time where I've ever made a record and didn't concern myself with it fitting in a blues category or a blues rock category. The new record comes out July 5. It's called Miami Moon. I went down to Criteria Studios in Miami to make this record. Criteria Studios is where the Allman Brothers made about 10 records, including Eat a Peach and Seven Turns, and just some fantastic Allman Brothers records were made there. It's just dripping with history and mojo, and I always wanted to record there.
Devon literally does it all and has his own record label as well.
Yeah, I started Create Records in 2018, and I really started the label. It's a labor of love. It's really meant to be kind of a farming system for younger artists. You know, I realized that the days of record labels signing artists and actually nurturing them through their career, they're just done. I've signed a few artists. It's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It's scary, you know, but it's really fun to help cultivate careers with others. And I don't know, I think by the time I leave the earth, if I could have gotten 10 or 20 or 30 careers off the ground, I'll feel like I've given back to an industry that, you know, that really took care of me.
He is also the curator and producer of the Allman Family Revival, which started out as a one-night tribute to his father Greg's passing. It was so successful that it's now an annual national tour.
It was one show at the Fillmore. It was easy to, you know, come up with the set list, and the guests were all my friends, and, you know, it was a pretty easy experience to curate. Nowadays, it's a coast-to-coast tour. Like, we don't want people to get bored with the set lists or the guests, so I'm still curating it. I'm still the producer. It's something that starts a few weeks after the tour is over. We start it up for the next year, and we start getting things booked up and getting guests secured, and, you know, start thinking about maybe a different angle for the set list, you know. Last year it was really, you know, kind of half Greg Allman songs and half Diggy Betts songs.
During some performances, there are times when Devon feels his father Greg's spirit around him on stage.
It's a weird thing because if you think too much about those kinds of things, you almost tend to kind of drift away from the job at hand, which is, I need to sing this song to the best of my ability. But some nights I feel Dad there. Some nights I kind of ask him to be there. Maybe it's not the best night, and it's like, come on, man, get me through this, you know. I want to do you proud, you know. A lot of times there is an instant lamenting for me because I just wish that Dad was up there singing Melissa instead of me.
The deepest dreams of gypsy fly to sweet Melissa.
Devon inherited his dad's entire guitar collection, some of which he plays on tour.
These were a couple of the main ones. When he would play Melissa, Midnight Rider live, he would use these two guitars the most. This is a Johnny Cash model Martin acoustic, and this is a Gibson J200 and the Tobacco Burst.
The Allman Betts Family Revival Tour's stellar reviews continue, and it's selling out main stages across America.
I'm loving being able to MC a moment for people to reclaim their youth and go back and re-experience some of those feelings.
So you're feeling down and out, feeling like you're in last place, further from the crowd, hanging your head down in disgrace. So get up, get down, get out, listen to the music, be young, be proud, you know there's nothing to it. You run fresh out and down, no more excuses. Yourself out the rat race. Now it's time to shine, and on every breath you take. So get up, get down, get out, listen to the music. Be young, be proud, you know there's nothing to it. You run fresh out and down, no more excuses. You don't wanna wait anymore. You're always waiting for your white horse. You're always looking for way out, way out, way out.
Next week, the Black Rep stages the world premiere of the play Hold On. Plus, in 1960, Martin Luther King Jr. delivered a speech in St. Louis. Thanks for watching Spotlight. Join us next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. on KPLR 11.